Sorry guys, the tape cut off. What I'm saying is now it's time to integrate all of those divine principles that we're picking up, all of that truth, into ourselves and to manifest what I'll call the Moorish Magi thought form. If you're into your occult study, you'll be familiar with the concept of a thought form, but I'll go over it briefly. Because we are divine beings, and because our thoughts are things, and our thoughts are creative, then when multiple beings are thinking and pouring their thought energy, their divine light power into a single creation, then it actually takes upon a life of itself. So out there in the ethers, in the spirit world, an entity, word used very deliberately, an entity or a deity is created that has intelligence, that has light of its own, that will manifest its own will and incarnate within the bodies and souls and minds and spirits and flesh of human beings. And this thought form is potentially as infinite as all of the power and the attention of those who are pouring into it. I'll give you an example. This character, Jesus Christ, and I'm not talking about the historical Yehoshua ben Yosef, the prophet of Allah, mentioned in the Holy Quran, in the Circle 7 Quran also. I'm talking about this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, crucified savior guy, all emaciated because he wasn't eating enough or whatever, on the cross, bleeding, dying for your sins and all that, with his white mother Mary. You would say, that guy's not real, he's a fictional character. But I will argue that he is real because 1 billion Christians in this world pour their energy every Sunday into that character. So when they're praying to him, I'm saying that that character exists in the spirit world as a thought form that has power to give blessings and to punish and to smite and all of those things. It's a spiritual, what you'll call an egregor, or a spiritual thought form, or a spiritual pool of energy, basically that was created by the belief, blind or not, by the belief, by the blind faith of those who poured their energy into it. In that same manner, the Negro-colored black, even though they're fictions, even though that character was invented, there has never been a Negro-colored or black nation on the face of the earth, because for 200 years we have been going under the title of Negro, colored, and black. There is a such thing as a Negro, colored, and black culture. There is a Negro, colored, and black God or entity or thought form that exists in the ethers and is constantly remanifesting itself in the children that are coming out of the womb of Allah, or the womb of the black woman. So that's why kids are born with their pants sagging, if you get my drift. That's why they're born not knowing how to speak proper English and not really giving a shit like niggas do, because they are being powered up, juiced up by this thought form of the Negro-colored black. What I'm telling you now is it's time to completely kill the Negro-colored black thought form within yourself and begin to pour into the thought form of the Moorish Magi. Yes, we must create the thought form of the Moorish Magi, the aboriginal God, man, and woman. Because as long as we pour our energy into the thought form of the Negro, colored, and black, even if it's only to criticize and to say, oh, they're on slave culture and this and that and all these negative archetypes and stuff, we have to completely tear our energy away from it as if the Negro, colored, black culture doesn't exist. We must kill that thought form. And we must give birth to the thought form of the Moorish Magi. I'm going to read you a short piece that I prepared dealing with the consciousness of the Moorish Magi. Bear with me. It's in a document that I may be publishing in the future titled path of the Fez. Islam. Freeborn Moorish Master Magi, Moorish adept. 360 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Let there be light. From the divine to the natural, from the natural to the divine, is the logical expression of man's evolution from divinity and evolution back to infinity. From man to God is the words as the supreme revelation of self-unfoldment. The light you seek is within. Its name is self, not to be confused with the lower self-nature, the ego through which the light is filtered, nor the body, the ego's plaything and primary fixation. The light is not even within the books you read. They contain knowledge, can give you wisdom, and fervent study may even lead you into understanding. But the illumination will be an internal process. The body, the ego, and the light gained from study is filtered, for it has already passed into manifestation and entangled itself into form. Know and remember well, the light of your search lays hid within the deep, unmanifested realms of yourself. Hence, the age-old mystery tradition edict, know thyself. Do not allow the ego to deceive you that the path of light is an easy one. In order to discover the light, one must first traverse the darkness of his own self. There are many foes to battle within. There is much territory to cover, but the light is ever leading on. Adepts are men who, after stern self-denial and by means of consistent self-development, have fitted themselves to assist in the ruling of the world. The means by which this position is attained is said to be long and arduous, but in the end, the successful one has fulfilled the purpose for which he was created and transcends his fellows. An adept is one who has succeeded in the alchemical process of self-deification. An adept is one who knows, understands, and applies the laws of the universe to the affairs of divine and mundane life. An adept is one who has climbed the mountain of his own desire, of his own ambition, of his own potential, and has become the reward at the end of his quest, the glittering philosopher's stone. An adept is one who has eaten of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and has transmuted its fruit into that of everlasting life. An adept is one who has journeyed into the depth of himself, into the dark abyss of his own consciousness, and has overcome his own ego, and has ascended to the throne of heaven as God of all that lives, moves, and breathes within himself, thus enabling him to, with ease, to travel whither he wills in the cosmos, to bend the will of all creatures to his own with love, wisdom, and power, and to accomplish all of his earthly and heavenly objectives, and assist in the ruling of the world, above and below. The Moorish nation will rise by will of its master Moorish Magi, who have attained the degree of adept. There is no other way. There is no higher goal or ambition for one to set than to become master of self. But know that the ego will never achieve this goal. The ego is a false god, a shadow, an illusion made from the sputtering, fading light inside of the physical vessel. The ego is equivalent to Yaldabaoth, the false god that imagines himself to be in possession of the treasures of the universe, when in fact he can only exist in the absence of the true master, whose name is self. And I'll stop there. Call to mind the concept of Illuminati. I want you to know that the word Illuminati means nothing more than enlightened one who has become enlightened, one whose pineal gland is shining. You know? A lot of Moors are afraid of the Illuminati. What I'm here to tell you, and I want you to take to heart, is that in the building of this Moorish Magi thought form, we must become the Illuminati. The Illuminati is a term that means enlightened one. One who has attained, an adept. One who is fit to rule the world. Contrast this with the Moorish community where most aren't even fit to rule themselves. I'm sorry, the Negro-colored black community. Because to be qualified as a Moor, you must be a child of light. You must have gone through the alchemical process. Of course, Moors are born and not made. But also, you have to earn the tassels on your fez. You have to earn your fez. The fez, if you'll notice actually, my fez is right before me. It's not on my head. Let me repeat, my fez is right before me. It's not on my head. Because a fez is a certificate of achievement. A fez means, if I see a Moor and he's wearing a fez on his head, then I know that I'm looking at an adept. One who has achieved 360 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and has awakened themselves to the truth of themselves, and is thus fit to assist in the ruling of the world as their ancestors did so long ago. And if that Moor is not able to prove the degrees of his tassel, then he's as much an imposter as these Europeans parading around with stolen culture. And I'll give you another point. Some Moors read documents like the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, where these Tamahu Neanderthal bleached out Jews are publicizing or have had publicized their plans, which are in motion, which are very much real, to take over every aspect of society, from the finance to the politics to the culture to what have you. Read the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. Basically, that's like the Illuminati plot in action. And some Moors will get scared, or they'll get indignant and say, oh my God, these guys are abusing power and all this stuff. What I'm here to tell you is that plan was not written by no European Tamahus. Everything that the Europeans are doing, they got from us. So the concept of the Illuminati, of the enlightened ones, is a stolen concept. The concept of a ruling class is a stolen concept. The concept of an aristocracy is a stolen concept. The concept of a few ruling over the many is a stolen concept. They stole the concept, we fell into slavery, and now we're being ruled over by our same signs. Ain't that something? But again, that shows how the law of karma works. Because there's good adepts and there's bad adepts. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is completely impartial. Light is completely impartial. Magic is completely impartial. It's great. What you do with it, whether you use your high science, your knowledge, along the lines of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as our prophet told us, or you use it to take vengeance for what was and is being done to the Negro, black, and colored community while they sleep in Hiram's tomb, whether you become a light adept or a dark adept or a middle path adept, regardless, in order for any activity, any upward progress to happen in this Moorish community, we will need Moorish Master Magi who have attained unto the degree of adept, who have journeyed to heaven and back to earth by the number 37, and have fitted themselves with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in order to assist in the ruling of the world. And besides that, it's mainly just talking. And we got to get out of the talking also. We have to get into the building of this new Moorish thought form, of the Moorish Master Magi. Don't look for him out somewhere in heaven, because he's looking at you in the mirror. You are the Master Moorish Magi. And if hearing me speak about this concept of the Moorish Master Magi has awakened any desire within self to go out and pursue that, and to get your knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and start applying the degrees that you gain in order to better yourself, in order to get more knowledge and more understanding, to improve your social, financial, political, and spiritual position, in order to better the Moorish community at large, in order to raise some of these Negro, coloreds, and blacks from the dead level to a living perpendicular so they can start on the great work as well. If you felt any flutter of desire to pursue that path, then know that it has already been given unto you. It's just that you got to travel on the level of time and manifest that desire that's already started coagulating in the ethers. So I thought I'd share that with you. I'm also, my whole objective in life is to attain that degree, is to wear that fez and have rightly earned it. Before the Moabites fell, there was a Moor by the name of Mur Lu Akin El. He was the last great Magi of the Moabite Empire. This is before the Yaqub experiment. This is before the destruction of Atlantis. He was the last great Magi. All the others have been lesser versions of him. So his energy is still out there. He wants to incarnate, and he wants to work through young Moors on the plain of Malkuth. All the ancestors do. All the ancestors want people who can pick up their frequencies. The ancestors didn't go anywhere. They're guiding the Moorish nation even as they sleep. And those that wake up will receive the favor of the ancestors and basically they'll be the Christ, yo. Doesn't everybody want to be Christ? Hibu, Haq, Salam, Huriyatun, Wa'adu. I greet thee. Get to work, yo.